as we get set to bring you a game between a couple of struggling teams out of the gate. First three is launched. That's an air ball. Georgia Tech has been brutal from the field to start this one. And a three, and one drops, and that's the first three of the season for Brandon Boston. Take a look at the starting lineup for Kentucky.
In transition. And this is a Kentucky team now, defensively and rebounding, they can hang with anybody in the country. At least so far they have.
Moses right through and up, missed, followed his own shot, took the ball away, but they may get him for a foul. I have no idea what that sign over your left shoulder says, but I'm delighted to be working again with you, buddy.
I remember in 1978, the song by Peaches and Herb, Reunited, of being back with you on the air.
Right, we'll leave the singing to Peaches and Herb, though. That's fine. The one-hit wonder that is Jimmy Dykes. Back here, Kentucky 5, Georgia Tech 4. Neither team is shot well. Interior passing. As do.
It's right there, Ravi. What does
Cats
can't keep turning it over? Kentucky at 37 turnovers combined in their last two losses, and they're tracking a number today again that's hard to win on the road.
Good matchup here, right, and backing in Saar, jump hook, gets.
Far the answer to that, no.
What a story.
And he was making on his older team, showing up with an edge and a fight and a toughness, and you can't get it if you're not practicing 5-on-5. This week they've gone back to it. It bit him in the butt the first two games. He expects his team to be better today.
Making three of the ball game. They started out terribly in their first three games from three-point range. Basically ranking 294. Terrible help defense, but there from nowhere, the block. And Isaiah Jackson's a headache on the offensive and defense. And Isaiah Jackson, the freshman out of this year that's different than every other year is COVID-19. The youthful nature of his team, the in-game runner, no good off the back iron. Georgia Tech with a run out. And Alvarado high off the window, no good. Followed, and Kentucky's got numbers, 4-on-3. Boy, Askew picked that dribble up, Jimmy. He was in the paint. Tough shot, access denied. Ware with a rebound. He's going to go to the foul line.
That's one thing. Can you finish the play is another. And Clark has to be much more
likely to get some minutes for Kentucky on the floor. So Mintz is on.
Unfortunately, I think it's a word that all of us have to deal with at some point in time. But I appreciate you being there, man.
Well, that was easy. Jimmy, I'm going to stand up here for a second because I know you were looking for these shirts. Guess who's wearing one of these shirts?
Good job.
Your guy has one here, and of course, we'll talk much more a little later about our good friend available. I'll let you know in a little while where you can get them. But obviously, Jimmy's father, Stuart Scott, and so many members of all the viewers' families that have been affected by cancer. The V Foundation for Cancer Research works. I mean, it is amazing the number of people who go on to serve.
Offensive possessions in this game. They have 9 turnovers. Like, you can't beat anyone when you continue to throw the ball, cough it up, kick it off your foot to the other team. In Kentucky in the past.
Terrence Clark hits another one. He has led the way with 8 of the 13 points. Are they forcing it? What are you seeing on the offensive end that you would try to encourage them or discourage them from either continuing to do or stop doing?
Kentucky's playing way too fast on offense. I mean, you want to be aggressive, but there's a line there that you never cross over. Kentucky just
at 17-13, 8.5 to go in the first half.
Georgia Tech will double out of their zone. You've got to get the ball reversed. You got to get multiple side touches. You cannot settle for it. Came in 0 for 8. But the three-point shots that he's taken, he has shot it with like 7 out of 8 confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Saar, that's a good area for him. And Olivier Saar, he and Jackson, two of the guys Coach Cal said we're going to play through if we can, more often than the outside shots. Good bounce pass, Moses right on the baseline, flushes it in.
He handles all the passes, the hard passes, the low passes, the bounce passes. He goes and gets it. He plays the game as a big, number 5 in gold with 2 hands, about as well as we can find.
Clark step through and look out. Terrence Clark off to a fast.
Doesn't have one guy available today that has played in a Kentucky uniform until this year. That is almost unheard of and extremely uncommon.
Bad pass from Alvarado, run out for Kentucky. Mintz lays it up and in, and Kentucky increases their lead to 3.
3 years of my life, and really, that's not hyperbole. And I got to play in the big leagues for 14 years and won a World Series and had more success professionally than I could ever imagine. But you want to talk about just an absolute blast when you're.
What is your experience like working with Ravi? Because
hey man, you got to help me out here. And so the first thing I would say. And number two, whatever you ask him to do, he nails it. Absolute nails it.
Sorry, Jimmy, not the answer you wanted. I know.
Oh, that's coming from a guy that should understand what a great teammate actually looks like and sounds like and feels like.
Again.
You know, in the ACC, it was really us, Clemson, and Florida State. And so those guys, you know, Clemson and Florida State pitched me really tough. But you know, for some reason, I always hit Carolina well. Loved going to Chapel Hill and playing against those powder blues. So anytime Georgia Tech can beat Carolina, especially in basketball, they were down.
This guy has been great. And if you haven't seen him, Tex, Moses Wright is your guy this year. And here he is with another chance.
Is right. That guy he does not fumble the ball, man.
Favorite people in the world. I hope he's watching this game. Coach, I love you. I hope you're doing well. And, you know, Bobby Kremens had a lot of success. He built that Georgia Tech program out of nothing.
Yeah, he did. And he built it with a lot of guys coming from New York City. Tex, we got a 3 from Georgia Tech. Since you
that talent around him, they should be. Because I think Mintz and Olivier Sarr are the two guys that can carry Kentucky early right now till the young guys find their feet. But it's you got to play through those two.
Jump shot from Moore, and that was a set play out of it, and all the different restrictions and protocols. I wasn't going to have our players surrounded by other players, so he went for the first couple of days, if not weeks, without doing any of that. After falling 0-2, he said, I got to change the way we're doing things. They got some chips in their watches. It's 7:30 Eastern time, and then it's 5th-ranked Illinois and 6th-ranked Duke, and it's Clark. Mintz into the paint. That's a wide open 3 for Askew. That one drops. A high arcing. 6 on the shot clock. Moses Wright hard to the rack with the left and gets it to go. 15.
Right, averaging 25 and 12. He's tracking a higher number than that. He's taking the ball anywhere he wants, anytime he wants. Normally we say that about a point guard. We're saying that about a cat that's 6'9" and 230.
Good take. They've got 7 assists.
Yeah, and you need to keep that number for a 40-minute game at 12 or 13 if you're going to win hard games. Clark leads Kentucky in paint touches in their practices and their games. Today, he's actually finishing.
They get it to Wright. Fade away, no good, no foul. So we'll head to the break. 34-27
is beating us right now any way he wants. And Moses Wright, my gosh, came in averaging 25 and 12. He's going to get those numbers again today.
Sure is. The 2 number 5s have been dominant. Let's see what Kentucky does out of that half. A lot of times Calipari terrific at adjustments. And we've seen Georgia Tech in a zone. They're in a zone again, and then some laziness on the other end leads to a 2-on-1. And
well, that's the 13th turnover now for Kentucky in this game.
1-3-1 for Georgia Tech on defense.
The ball's got to get below the free throw line extended, and something good will happen.
Askew spins it across. There's a 3 down that 3. He's got 6 points.
Kentucky now, I believe, 5 out of 9 from the three-point line. So they came in, couldn't make a 3. They made some today, but their lack of getting shots up in this game on the rim and allowing offensive rebounds to come in is a big part of it as well.
Michael DeVoe did not have a good.
Easy for a defender to pick up the call.
DeVoe in the paint, too easy. Baseline.
Ball watching, you will be dunked on, and that's exactly what's happening in this game.
Clark trying to do it all, but Jimmy, you're getting nothing from Sarr and Jackson. Nothing.
No, they're not. You know, Seth asked us in the first half, who's going to be the potential guy for Kentucky going forward? We might be seeing it right now in Terrence Clark growing up in this game. Offensively, he's in a groove. He's attacking. He's under control. Had a couple of turnovers, but you have to play your way into that situation at Kentucky, and there's nothing given in that program. But How do you move forward, and does it continue in this game?
Lead the way when it comes to scoring. Kentucky a little more active on defense. That time the ball fake got Sarr to help out. Good help defense, and here comes Kentucky with numbers. Floater, and that one is knocked in. Ted Valentine got a foul maybe on the shot. So they called the foul before we went to break on the floor on Bubba Parham, which is why Kentucky got the ball back. And then they ran out of time on the shot clock, and an air ball from Clark. Great cut and a nice drop off as Alvarado lays it.
And you get backdoor cut by Georgia Tech. And that's putting it kindly.
Jackson is wide open on the baseline. They don't see him, and another turnover. And an easy layup. And
Remember, that shot was taken halfway through the shot clock.
Davion Mintz needs a three to go and finally finds the bottom. Isaiah Jackson one-on-one runner, and
he did.
Kentucky 5 of 8 from the floor in the second half. Georgia Tech 5 of 11. Right by Sarr, high off the window, and gets it to go.
I love Kentucky, though, trying to feed Mintz confidence on the flight of the ball. You heard Kentucky's team knock it down, knock it down. Man, that's how you communicate on the offensive end.
Georgia Tech is like this matchup, and right. Oh, he knocks down a jumper now.
He can knock down that 16-footer. He has a high unblockable release. He's getting you off the bounce, going both directions and around the rim. He still has not fumbled the ball.
Askew left his feet, turnover, right. Wide open three. Georgia Tech now up. Fights him off, and now back up to 10 with 10 to play. The high screen set leads to an open jump shot and a good shot.
And they kept it. The ball never hit the rim, did it not?
It didn't, and I think Teddy thought that it didn't hit the rim, and they said that's right, and then they gave him a fresh 30, and this is run out in the.
You can't win when you continue to throw the ball to the other team. Man, that's a simple fundamental of the game. Plays ahead and slowing themselves down.
19 turnovers in the game for Kentucky. And 5 for Georgia Tech. Again, the veteran guards tend to control the ball. You don't
about winning more than he does about breathing, the kid in the headband. And he just makes so many plays, and Georgia Tech follows his voice, they follow his juice, they follow his fight really well.
Mintz had an uncontested three, waited, then it became a contested three, and he missed with 8 minutes left to go in this one. Georgia Tech is up big now. Another jumper goes.
Big Blue Nation fan, a Kentucky fan. This is hard to watch. The turnovers, the carelessness, the lack of offense, the lack of defense. It's hard to defend turnovers. All those things just stockpiling up on Kentucky in this game.
Clark will run.
I mean, Kentucky needs help right now. And what I mean by that, they need Georgia Tech to come down and lose their mind for a couple of minutes and fire up quick, bad shots.
Like that?
There's just like that right there. So Georgia Tech guarded themselves on that possession.
Clark spins his way deep into the lane and lays it up at 2 in the game.
Has Georgia Tech learned the lesson on this possession? No, Josh Pastner can call a play right now that is a 3 or 4 pass play. Instead he goes for the clear out, just goes one on.
Stolen by Wright, and he gets tripped up by Jackson. And Moses Wright, relationships that he was developing on the basketball floor with some of the coaches, etc., who could be that father figure to him. And now the way he's playing, he may have a career in basketball.
Ravi, I love his story. They would have pulled out a picture of my family. 20 turnovers today for Kentucky, coming in after strong with their bodies, not mentally strong as well. A lot of growing up to do for this Kentucky team.
Sarr went hard to the hole there, right?
Yeah, it is, and so as a result of that Richmond team's a real team. I think they got a chance to finish right there. He got pushed all the way to the final 30 seconds against North Dakota State last night. So it's not like Kentucky right now is getting beat by top 10 teams night after night. It's just there's a lot of question marks for Big Blue Nation right now.
A 3-on-2 leads to a turnover and a Georgia Tech dunk. Ball up, Jimmy.
Well, Cal's asking to be a play starter, and right now it's just not working. Askew reclassified, Ravi, should be a senior in high school.
Yep.
Right now, to me, just does not look ready for this big stage of Kentucky basketball that they play on.
Better ball movement there. That leads to feel like he got a chance.
Well, you got to have a good 59 seconds right here and get to that media timeout at the 10-point mark.
Great example of the difference between a senior and a freshman. Wright ripped that ball away from Sarr, and Sarr looked like he was
resistance by Kentucky defensively. The drive, the baseline hammer pass, the easy high wing reversals.
Isaiah Jackson, that's good.
A low butt and a mean streak about him. Ravi, those pretty boy, high hand, chop your feet, say shot. Those are fake closeouts. And Georgia Tech's had real grown man, low butt, mean streak closeouts in this game.
Good swing into the corner, 52% from the floor.
Yeah, they're at 67% in the second half. Georgia Tech, at some point, your team has to hit the low point defense. Georgia Tech's only turned it over 6 times. Turnover, look at the points off turnovers. It's astounding.
Wide open, easy bucket.
In a high school game or an AAU game where you can miss 4 or 5 in a row and it really didn't matter. It matters now. You can't keep taking shots at this level and win games if you're okay going 1 for 6, 1 for 7. Clark answered the bell today, but other guys have to start making shots if Kentucky's going to be a factor in the SEC.
The Jimmy Clark
game. Just his long step, Ravi, his ability to get to the paint and play under control today. Certainly the best thing for Kentucky on the offensive end.
Well, with a minute to go, what are the changes you would make? And I know you can't have a knee-jerk reaction, and that's going to be a foul.
To get things right, and that's
on ESPN and the ESPN app, a top 15 doubleheader, 27.3 points per game in the first half of games. Carver Hawkeye Arena, number 3 Iowa against Carolina, and then it's 5th-ranked Illinois and 6th-ranked Duke at Cameron Indoor. A couple of great Sonic blockbusters as the college basketball season, as odd as it is, with games being canceled and no one in the stands, underway.
Well, salute to Georgia Tech, Ravi, in the ball game, because they only turned that thing over 6 times against a Kentucky defense coming in that looked like a top 10 defense. They have made, and this is a Georgia Tech team. Remember now, they came back with 4 starters from last year's team.
DeVoe Jr., Alvarado, Parham, Usher, all seniors. They've succeeded in groups.
Old wins national championships, old wins conference championships. We've seen over the last few years, and Georgia Tech's experience impressive today.
So he had been 17-0 against his former